Hello everyone, my name is Karthik and welcome back to my channel, YouTube channel. And this session actually we'll learn how we can create our Docker container and then how we can run our application inside the Docker container. So it is a very easy and without writing any Docker file stuff. So that I'll show you. So let's get start for first demo. So I already actually create a one Docker image. Okay, so you will see that Docker image already created, and this Docker image actually there's a few command I'll explain you in a when you implement so from scratch. So this is a create a Docker image in the command prompt, and then finally I run this image in our Docker container. So once it's running our application, so see our application is running on this port and 3000 port, and also it's giving some information of log information, and it is listening to actually here listening to our that 3000 localhost. Okay, so let's see in actions like how our container build is working. So if you see, I have also Docker desktop, Docker desktop install in my machine. So already I create an image. So you will see that image over here, and as well as you will see the container. So this container there. Okay, and this actually listening port of 3000. Okay, we set up, and let me check like okay after installing and after setup actually everything our is working or not, our application is working or not. So I already created some endpoint. Okay, and see this is our get endpoint a blog. So just send, there is a no data as of now because first time I'm running, so that's why it's not their data. But when I try to post some data, so I'm trying to post my data. Okay, this is not the right one, so I need to post data. Okay, so yeah, I want to post my blog data like title, description, name on this. So just hit, and if you see the execution, so see that execution part also you able to see whatever I did. So that also maintaining our Docker logger, Docker container logger mechanism. So it is there, and then check like the data is there or not. Not this one. Okay, let me zoom it and get this one API block. Yes, that API block is just let send. Yes, see whatever I did send, I get back to via Postman. Also, if I want to see in a browser, so that also I can check. See, this is our data endpoint which is hosted in our Docker container, and I get the result. Okay, so that is enough for demo. So let's get started, and let's close all the demo application so that we can do from scratch. Okay, so close everything, close this, and already actually I created some. Okay, before that, first just open your Visual Studio. Okay, and I open my old application actually which I created in clean architecture. So that application actually I created with the using clean architecture along with the .NET 7 Core API. Okay, so this is what. And if you don't know about that, how can create a clean architecture and how can create a .NET Core API and using on there, so I'm especially recommend to you. You have to go in my my channel, and definitely you will see all the stuff, all the series over here of clean architecture, as well as how can create a um, .NET Core APIs with the minimal approach, and as well as like controller based approach. So everything over here I'll also share that link over you. And before I start, first you record actually a Docker desktop, okay, which I already installed over here. See, so it is a straightforward. Just go to docker.com and just install based on the environment operating system. We have Linux, we have chips, and we have Apple. So we have only window. I have window, so I install for window. So that is fine. And then also I shared repository of our clean architecture, whatever. So I taken the example. So I'll share also in our GitHub link to you. So let's get started. Okay. So before we start, okay. So first we'll create another Docker file. So which is build actually our which create our image. So how we can do that without writing a code? That is important. That is a very good feature given us the 2022 Visual Studio. So just right click on that on our project file or your user interface. So right click on that, add, and you will see one option is Docker support. So let me zoom in, okay, so that you can see. Okay, so this is that options newly added in Visual Studio 2022. So that is we have to use to create a Docker file. So right click on that, add Docker support, and also it will giving the okay which framework you want to use. So I want to use for Linux or I want to use for Windows. So in this demo session I will use the Linux. Okay, you can use whatever you want. Okay, now see, automatically it is creating the Docker file. With this, all the references, whatever reference actually I have in this project, see, there's a many reference actually. So in this here, there's a project reference, two project reference like in infrastructure and as well as application, and application also has a domain and other stuff. So those are actually created. Those are actually they are trying to copy and reference and automatically we don't have to bother about that. Okay, how many file or need to put that line or everything. So this code you don't worry about it, it is automatically generated as per our project architecture. Okay, whatever I did reference and all stuff. So uh, before I start this file, okay, I'll just little bit explaining actually what is Docker. Okay, and then why is Docker, because we are trying to implement something. So little bit we have to idea actually what is Docker. So Docker is an open source platform that enable to you automated the deployment, scaling, and management of the application using containerizations. It allow to you package an application and its dependencies into a standardized unit called a container. A container provides an isolated and consistent environment, ensure that the application runs smoothly across different computing environments such as development machines, testing environment, and production services. Okay, and now second question was, okay, second things we have to understand, okay, then why need to Docker? Okay, so what is the reason for why we will use the Docker, and what is the purpose when why it's needed? Okay, so there is a several reason or you know reason actually to use our Docker. So first reason is like portability. So Docker container encapsulate the application and the dependencies, making them portable across different system and platform. Now second reason is consistency. So consistency contains ensure the consistency between different environment while packaging the application and its dependencies together. Okay, so now third one is isolations. So container provide a high level of isolation, allow application to run independently without interfering with others processing or applications. Okay, now moving to next reason, that is the scalability. So Docker enable easy scaling of the application. You can quickly create multiple instances of a container to handle increased traffic or workload demands. Okay, so now moving to next, now efficiency. So container are lightweight and share the host system kernel, which means they use fewer resource and compared to running multiple virtual machines. And now moving to last one, the reason which is a fast deployment. So Docker simplify the deployment process by the provide consistent and repeatable deployment model Once you have created a containerization application, you can easily deploy it to any environment, and that has Docker install. The streamline deployment process save time and reduce the changes of the errors during the deployment phases. Okay, so let's start to running our you know images first. So first I need to create an image for this for the Docker. So how we can do that? There is a one command. So before starting that command, what need to do? So see, this file already created, okay, and this file actually there's a three or four sections. So first section actually is create a base class, base image, okay, with this ASP.NET, and then it's actually copy and also copy the all the project reference as a and store as a this work directory, okay, and then finally it's restoring our application, okay, and then copy in this the whole copy the our root directory and store actually storing this src and clean architecture as a folder, and then it's create a work directory, and then again .NET create a build, okay, fire the build command so that it's build first actually restore, then try to create a build, and then finally actually it is publish, okay, build as a publish, okay, and then it will publish actually this folder, app publish folder, okay. Finally once it's published in this folder, then whatever base command that finally they will create another app directory and copy from this the finally whatever publish and store in this app folder, okay, and this is our entry point, okay. So this is fine to understand, okay, how is this working, because that is very important. And one last thing we have to do actually, see, this file actually created for your root directory of the project, and then project file name, okay. So similar like this root directory of that project and project name, okay. So if your file over here, so definitely you have to just change few things, like, okay, so you have to just pass, because see, in this folder itself this file, okay, so that means you don't worry about to give that folder name, okay. And this is also not right a way to put your docker file here. So what I can do, I will move it from here to root directory, our solution root directory. So just cut from here and open your root directory, solution root directory, and just paste over here, okay, replace it. So definitely it was previously, I guess, so by mistakenly it was there, so that's why I just replaced. But yeah, definitely when you will start, so definitely you will get a you will not find any docker file. So just paste over here in the root directory. See, this is all our project folder, and they are under this project folder, you will get that project file as well, okay. So those done, and once it's completed, okay, what you can do, just okay, so open any terminal. So in this root folder, so I open from directly over here, and you can open directly from here as well, like directly change the path and put a cmd and directly open, but make sure path should be a same, but we but should be a same for this path, whatever our root folder path, okay. So let me check first docker is there or not, docker install or not. So make sure docker is installed. So docker v, yes, docker is installed. Then clear the console, and now create that image, okay. So what is the, let me zoom in, okay. So what is the command is docker, okay, docker, then specify docker build, then t tag name, and tag name would be clean, yeah, architecture demo image, okay, and dot, this is important, dot, so don't forget the dot, and then hit enter. Yeah, so now see, this is creating images. Finally all the step is done, and then it is run for restoring all the all the project file in restoring, so that all the packages will be download inside our container. So it will take few seconds actually, based on your speed or stuff, because it's connecting to internet, so definitely might be we using heavy packages, so it will take some time. Okay, so almost done. Run publish also done. Now yeah, the image has created, so let's check that image name. Okay, let me zoom and see, this is the image is created. Okay, and now the run that another command actually, that is okay. So that another command actually create a container and listing the port. Actually our application, uh, it will actually create it is a command of run. Docker will run, and what will do in the run command, it will actually running our container and our application inside that application. Okay, so what we can do is we specify the name of the container name. So I'll specify my first demo container. Okay, and then specify the image name. What is the image name? Our image name is this clean architecture demo. So clean arch dash image, our image name, and then hit enter. Okay, so once you hit enter, so it is saying something, clean architecture. Okay, my yeah, clean architecture is not a right name, so that's why. So let me change it to correct name. I think it's typo mistake. So CLENARCH demo image. Okay, now hit enter again. Now see, now it's running. Let me try to check. Okay, so open the blog, like localhost 3000, because I running my other application is 3000, or make sure like our image or container is running. So this is our image. See, image is ready, and also this image when you click, so you will see. Okay, don't try to click. So click the container. So container, see, whatever I give the name, my first demo container, inside our image, whatever image, this is that our image name, and what is the hosting port, so this is our listening port. So click here. Once you click, so definitely you will get that localhost 3000, but our controller name is API and then block. So when you click, so definitely if it is running there is a no issue, so it will get that response. But no response, that means some issue. So let me check what is the issue. See, also I'm getting the issue. So what is that issue? Let me check. See, this is the issue because no such table. Yes, that is expected actually. That is I not fix, because definitely you will, once you will try, so you will get this error and you will confuse, okay, why it's coming. Okay, so let me fix this issue. And why this issue, let me close the terminal first. Control C. Okay, and that clear uh, console, and open our Visual Studio. Okay, yeah, so see, problem is like we using, if you go to our domain infrastructure layer, so data layer, actually we using an entity framework, and this entity framework actually creating required a migration once you start your application. Because if you go to here, see, we using a SQLite. So this SQLite, actually whatever model, first we have to migrate and push to that schema in our um, database. So that is missing. So what we can do, how we can fix it. So inside the starting our application, we have to write a migration stuff. So how we can do that? Let me uh, yeah, let me get this code. This is a very small and straightforward code. See, what we can do, we using a statement and create a scope. Under the scope, what we can do, our context, DB context, we can get our service really. So this is our service, and finally what we have to do, let me zoom in. We have to forcefully tell, okay, the DB we have to do in starting migrate. So whatever in DB, so let's start to migrate. Okay, so once it's done, let's save it. Okay, then again we have to create that image. So what I will do, for safe side, I will remove again that our Docker file. Okay, for safe side, and then again I will create a new same Docker file. Okay, it is creating our same process. Control X, go to the root folder and paste it over here. Okay, and open the terminal and create an image again. This is image command. So docker build create. Okay, already image is created, so you can create a new image with new name, but I would like to suggest that image I will remove because that is not a right image, so I remove it over here. Also check there is no container. Okay, now that it to run, so it's again it will create an image, so it will take again few second or few minute, not a few minutes, only within one. Okay, so image is created. Okay, finally again run command, docker run it rm and then port and whatever our image name. Okay, and then my container. Okay, then hit. Now see, this time I get some log as well. So it is saying migration is doing, and then create a table. See the created table, and then update it to our DB. Okay, and finally this is listening started. Okay, so let me check here. See, image again it's created, and then container. Okay, this container created along with this image, and let's run this application and change it to API block. So if you confuse why I'm writing this API block, so let me open my project. Okay, so yeah, my project, and see my endpoint name is see API and then controller. So whatever I specify prefix is API and then controller name is block, and which one is getting the response, it is get call. So yeah, now now see, I'm getting the result but empty because that's expected. Actually there is no data. So what I can do, also, you will see the log, whatever request you will send your container, so you will get the log as well. So let me post some data by using postman. Okay, so okay, there is a one endpoint. Okay, the post endpoint. Okay, so API blocks and then post and then our stuff. So once you hit the hit, okay, so this is created again. Just hit again. Two also created. Three also created. Let me check the terminal. So I think whatever I send a command, see, everything is created, like insert command. See, this is insert command, this is insert command, this is insert command. Okay, that means our our container is working fine. And let me check the data once again in browser first. See, whatever I inserted, I getting the data. Okay, so this is very nice and very easy. Okay, so okay, one more things I forget to actually, that I created, run our image via the terminal, but there is another way, like directly I can create a container and running our application inside a container using the docker desktop app. How we can do that? Okay, so what you can do is just click here on the image play button, and then it is showing that this pop-up, run a new container and options settings. Expand the option settings and put some other port which is available in your machine, and then set that variable name. Okay, so this is important actually, the settings, because if you see, your application is running on the production. Okay, so if you see, let me zoom in. So by default it is taking production environment. Okay, so this is one issue. If you trying to use ASP.NET Core, okay, So if you go to your application and go to your launch just setting file, so see, it is by default taking ASP.NET Core. Okay, ASP.NET Core. So if you trying to use ASP.NET Core, and when you try to build your application inside the container, so definitely by default it will take production. So how we can fix it to run our application in for development or any environment? So that is why this settings. So what we can do, just copy this setting, okay, this one, and just need to change ASP not core to uh, dot .NET Core. Okay, so let me open again. This just changes to .NET Core. .NET Core. Okay, .NET Core environment, and specify the environment, which environment you want. So I want to run development environment, so that can one put it the value is a development or whatever in the environment you want, just you can put, and you can just there's a multi option as well. So just set it to this, and then set is the variable, so that your development environment can run inside the container. Also other things is yeah, you can specify your container name. So what is my container name? So container name is, I can would like to suggest container via docker app. Okay, and run. So once it run, okay, see, the inside the container, whatever container I specify, it is listening on this port, as well as they giving some log as well. So it's logs looks like good, like our migration done, as well as your application running. Okay, so how we can test it? So directly run your application in browser and just check it. And also, yeah, their API actually we have built in using Swagger. So you can just using Swagger URL, like Swagger is by default user is swagger slash index.html. So when you click the hit enter, so see, the your all the endpoint is there. Okay, so you don't require any third party postman or everything key that you can insert, update, delete performance. So this is one. Also you can check your get endpoint. So what is was api.blog. So see, there is no data. So let me try to insert some data. Okay, so how we can do that? Just let back. Okay, I'll just insert some data, try out, execute, execute. So I execute four times, so four data is there. Also you can make sure here as well, data is there or not. Yes, data is there. Also you can check here, see, all the insert command you will appearing over here, as well as your get command. Okay, so all the information you can check over here. There's a two container, one I created for terminal and one I created direct for docker app. Okay, but it's same image. Okay, it's one image but creating multiple container. Okay, so that is sufficient for this video. Yeah, make sure yeah, make sure your whatever application configuration. So if you choosing the development, so make sure all the stuff should be over there. Okay, means all the configuration should maintain over there. So that is sufficient for this docker. So next video, next session will come actually. uh, this time will create by default giving us that docker file, but next time we don't record that uh, okay, so next video will come with the, we don't record the docker file itself also. So I'll come with the future video. So thank you, have a nice day. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share.